Beijing has tightened its control measures. On May 9th, at the State Council's Joint Prevention and Control Mechanism meeting, China's Vice Premier in charge of epidemic prevention said that we must insist on dynamic zero-COVID policy without hesitation and without wavering, and create a good environment for the 20th National Congress to be held successfully. Shortly after, the government of Beijing City announced that starting from May 12th, a 48-hour nucleic acid test certificate would be required to enter party and government institutions, enterprises, and public places. According to the news from mainland China, on May 16th, more than 90 subway stations in Beijing adopted closed management, affecting 19 subway lines. In a few districts, buses, subway, taxi, and online taxi have already been suspended. Restaurants in Beijing have canceled dine-in services, entertainment venues and stadium activities are suspended. Cultural venues, including libraries, are completely shut down. Pictures have been circulating online showing that razor wire mesh that was seen in Shanghai is now making an appearance in Beijing. Chinese people made angry comments. Who said Beijing is only doing soft lockdown? Is there anything soft about the razor wire mesh? Workers in white hazmat suits continue to weld shut the entrances of Beijing neighborhoods. Beijing residents have been taken away to the mobile quarantine sites as in other cities. They have been asked to bring their own bedding as well. The tragedy of the Shanghai lockdown could happen in Beijing at any time. A lockdown in Shanghai has led to widespread famine. The online video is showing several starving residents shouting hysterically and trying to break the blockade by shaking the locked doors of their building. A number of videos have exposed that in Shanghai, epidemic prevention personnel have been using violence to maintain stability and attack people. One video shows a worker in a white protective suit slamming a man to the ground and kicking him hard. The video has sparked public outrage. Shanghai is seeing so much chaos in its epidemic control measures. One of the most disturbing images was on April 1st. A Shanghai parent posted videos and pictures exposing more than 200 young children being centrally quarantined with only a dozen healthcare workers. Some of them had rotten bottoms, and some cribs were packed with multiple children. 10 rounds of nucleic acid tests have failed to eradicate COVID-19 in Beijing. The outbreak has reached Zhongnanhai, the central government. A government spokesman said that Beijing has conducted 10 rounds of nucleic acid screening with hidden cases found in each round, indicating that the society hasn't yet cleaned up and screened out all the cases. Starting from May 17th, 3 more rounds of nucleic acid screening will be conducted in 12 districts in Beijing, and health codes will be checked at bus and subway stations around sealed and controlled areas. A residential street that's next to Zhongnanhai, where China's central government is located, is also affected by the outbreak. It was immediately sealed off, and a large number of residents were forced to relocate and quarantine. A couple of universities were quickly closed as well, allowing no traffic through. People in Beijing oppose hard segregation. They demanded, "We don't want to be treated as less than human." An online video shows that a Beijing neighborhood is closed off and residents aren't allowed to leave it even though there are no positive cases. In the video, a resident representative is negotiating with government officials, pointing out that the document from the Beijing Disease Control Center isn't legally binding. He requests that no hard quarantine be set up because it's unconscionable, unreasonable, and illegal, and there isn't anyone who is in close contact with an infected person, nor is there any positive case. There is no law that restricts our freedom and forbids us to leave our homes. We have done our best to give up some rights. We need to be treated as humans, the resident representative said. We don't want to be treated as less than human beings. In addition, many neighborhoods have hard segregation imposed, even when there are no positive cases. A video shows that the residents came downstairs to protest against the hard segregation. Some sealed communities and schools have had barbed wire, razor wire, and spike wire erected along the fences and gates to prevent people from climbing and escaping. In this video, homeowners and construction workers are in a fight over the installation of a wire mesh fence in a neighborhood in Beijing, where extreme lockdown measures are in effect. What's underneath? Is it a power supply? Is it an electrical fence? How is this not electrified? Who told you to do this? Who are you guarding against? Is it safe? Is it a prison? As a result of the harsh lockdown, Beijing has experienced similar misery as Shanghai. Many people are unable to return home, wandering the streets and sleeping on the roadside. People are panicking over city lockdowns. Residents in Beijing are stocking up on food. On May 12th, many communities in Beijing issued notices asking residents to stay home for 3 days, in silence. Afterwards, a wave of panic buying erupted across Beijing, with long lines outside supermarkets and many shelves being snapped up. People described it as almost like New Year's Eve in the shopping malls. Protest against building a segregation wall. Peking University students gathered late at night to tear down the wall. Recently, Peking University built a segregation wall overnight without letting students know. The wall separates the dorm, where thousands of students live, from the faculty and staff. Most of the space where people can move freely is allocated to the faculty and staff, including courier services locations. The faculty and staff can access it freely, but the student area is sealed off and no takeout is even allowed. It has outraged the students because they can't get in and out of the school nor order food. They can't access the school canteen either. Access for food has become a real problem. A video on Twitter shows students gathered late at night to protest against the segregation wall. A vice president arrived on site to try to calm the students down. He said that students should put down their phones and defend Peking University. However, as the management was speaking, the sound of tearing down the wall could be heard, followed by a student being pulled up by several people. The VP then said the school would tear down the wall